I'm Ken Danson Kundaya, or from Papar, from Limbahau, Papar, Kampung Limbahau, which is also Dun nowadays. And I'm currently in London. I trained as a lawyer, was in banking, academic, law lecturer, and now I'm a vice president of a financial technology company based in UK and Dubai. And Borneo Forum is organization that we set up, and Borneo Forum is the branch of Borneo organization, and the purpose of Borneo Forum is to promote the connection, the relationship between all Borneans or Bernesians, yes, Sabahan, Sarawakian, especially Bruneians, and especially as well to all the 5 provinces in Borneo: Kaltara, Kaltim, Kalbar, Kalsel, Kalteng. Yeah, so all the provinces, we want to connect with everybody. That's the objective of Borneo Forum. Not only to connect, but also to engender some kind of close relationship so that we can do business together. It's non-political. We can do a lot of cultural events, really create that network among Sabah Borneans. And as we know, we are separated by history. We are divided in 3 different countries because of history, and therefore we lack that kind of a sense of togetherness. And this is what we are trying to connect to the engender with Borneo Forum. It's not a political organization. We are very, very heavy on environmental topics, especially with Boyd and Simon. We have 2 vice presidents here, Mr. Richard Punai and also Alan Dumbong, and our 2 project directors, which is Mr. Boyd German and Simon and Simon as well. Yeah. So thank you very much for coming. That's an introduction for Borneo Forum. We hope to be able to eventually organize live events in Sabah, Sarawak, maybe even Brunei. What's exciting in Kalimantan, of course, is the Nusantara, the new city in Kaltim, the new Ibukata Negara Baru. That's so crucial and important for us in Borneo, and we are heavy on that topic as well. And we hope to be able to organize some event there eventually. So today's topic, I chose the funding. It's supposed to happen last Saturday, but that had to be rescheduled this week. Why did I choose this topic? Because it's very, very new. It's not new, but in a sense of consciousness of all of us, Sabah, Sarawak, it's not something that we think about a lot, I think. And I have not heard really a big activities happening within this funding aspect, which is called peer-to-peer funding and crowdfunding. Now, let me share my screen. I haven't hit record yet. You all can see this, yeah?
Yep.
Good. Yeah, I won't be able to see you because I'm actually, okay, let me be able to see you. Okay. Could you tell me if you see my slides only, or do you see your pictures as well, or only me?
We can see your slides. I can see it at least.
Okay. So you don't see this panel on the right side, yeah? Which I can see. You don't see it.
Yeah, that's normal, I think. If it's full screen.
Okay.
The panel comes out.
So only me that's showing?
4 people.
Oh, okay. That's what I want to really happen. Okay. Right. Okay.
But that's right. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Selamat datang. Welcome. what is this all about? It's about funding, peer-to-peer funding, crowdfunding. If you have not heard, I'm sure most of you have heard of this. It's quite a well-known phenomenon now. And we want to explore this as a potential for Borneo, Sabah, Sarawak especially, to fund new business ideas, social enterprise, and nonprofits. I will cover this topic and then followed by Boyd later, who is very experienced in grants, applications, and procurement of grants, and he's going to share his experience, actual experience. My experience in crowdfunding, primarily on equity crowdfunding, which I explain later, especially in London, particularly within a company called Crowdcube and Cedar, two of them, the famous one. And then my other experience more on crypto fundraising, which is the initial coin offering and also security tokens offering. And these are my areas. What I'm really keen on is actually the crowdfunding for startups per se, which is raising fund using reward instead of equity, but I will explain that. So I will cover the first part, and then Boyd will cover the second part, and then the third stage we will ask for Q&A. Yeah. It is very much a quick overview. We will not go very detailed on this because the objective is to introduce the topic, and then we could organize further forum if there's a demand for it. As you know, types of funding, there are bootstrapping, where you use your personal fund or family funds. And this is very, very much, of course, what we do when we start a business. And then, of course, there's the traditional loans, borrowings, debts, using banks and credit companies. And then there's venture capitals. Venture capitals is very much more, presumably in Kuala Lumpur area, but not very, very big in Borneo. I do not think so. And angel investors, where companies invest on early stage startups. And then we have accelerators, incubators. I'm not sure how big this is in Malaysia. It's a very small scale, but in Europe and the USA and UK, it's a big, big thing. These things are big thing. Seed funding, similar to venture capitalists, but just at a very, very, very early stage. And they stage into a Series A, Series B, C, very big in Silicon Valley, California, that kind of places, more on the technology. And of course, our focus today is crowdfunding. Yeah, where we pool. Well, I'll give the explanation. You have the traditional and you have the crowdfunding. But what is crowdfunding? Yeah. Crowdfunding is the use of small amounts of capital from a large number of individuals to finance a new business venture or a cause, a good cause, or non-profit. Yeah. Crowdfunding makes use of the vast network of people through social media, very much driven by social media. That's crowdfunding is very much driven by Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and all that. Social media is the driving force behind social media, crowdfunding. So it brings investors or donors and entrepreneurs together. Social media has allowed that, and there's a huge potential. It's already happening in the Europe, USA, UK. It's really expand and engender entrepreneurship, definitely. And I don't know how much that is happening. I know in West Malaysia, yeah, it is, but in Borneo, not very much so. And this is why we want to introduce this, start this topic. So we get this funding beyond the traditional circle of funding of loan banks and relatives and venture capitalists. Now, the business model of crowdfunding platforms has various permutations. One is called a peer-to-peer lending, okay? And there's an equity or share crowdfunding. And it's a reward-based crowdfunding, which is I'm very interested. There's a profit sharing as well, and there's a donation-based crowdfunding. So what is peer-to-peer lending? Yeah, peer-to-peer lending, the crowd lend money to a company or to a startup or to an individual with understanding that the money will be repaid with interest. It's very much similar to the traditional borrowing from a bank, or except you borrow from a lot of people, a crowd. Yeah, it's obvious. So the diagram there show pretty much easy. Now this is actually quite not too it's old image. It started really about 2014 in Malaysia, and it took off in West Malaysia, but very little happening in Sabah, I believe. And then there's the equity crowdfunding. Instead of just lending, getting interest or repayment, you get a share in the company. Now, obviously, with this kind of funding, you trigger the SEC, Security Exchange regulatory framework, whereby it's almost like an IPO or initial public offering where you get a share. So that is very heavily regulated, and it is this sector that the Malaysians are very much at the forefront. This is what is normal in Malaysia at the moment: equity crowdfunding. Yeah, there is also the more exclusive mode of debt securities crowdfunding, very much like a bond, where they issue security and you fund that crowd as well. But I think that's not very well known to so-called the smaller investors, mainly the big companies or the bigger companies involved in equity and debt security crowdfunding. And then this is the one that excites me a lot. This is the one that I really like to promote, called reward-based crowdfunding. This is very big in America, UK, Europe, especially in USA. It's a big thing. Why? Because it's very exciting. You can fund an idea or product or service without giving away a share or equity. How good is that? Okay, so all you have to do is offer them a reward, material or non-material, some kind of benefits, but not the shares of the company. Yeah, and you don't have to pay them back. You just give them a reward. It could be anything. It could be just a t-shirt. It could be advance ownership of this product you design. This is the area that I'm really excited about. I don't think this is very big in Malaysia yet. And definitely, I think not big in Sabah and Sarawak. I will come and revisit this later. And of course, there's the profit sharing, revenue sharing, as quite straightforward, where you go to a platform, fund a business in return for a share or return. Yeah. And then this another one area that we really like to explore further in Borneo, in Sabah, the donation-based crowdfunding. Now, donation, it's very much not popular yet, I believe, in that part of the world, whereas in UK, it's a big thing. You can get funded for good causes using crowdfunding. Yeah, and this is something that we could tap on from Borneo using local platforms, and also in a way the international platform as well, as long as you know what you're doing. Yeah, and then of course there's a hybrid model, combination of everything. There's a venture capitalist plus equity fund. That kind of thing is a hybrid model. Yeah. Now in Asia, this is the latest statistics. This is just this month, last month. the value of crowdfunding transaction in Southeast Asia as at March, which is last month, was about 23.5 million. It's not huge, considering there's 650 million people in Southeast Asia. That's not big, but it's growing. It's projected to be around 27 million by 2026. Obviously, the pandemic, I suppose, impacted it as well. 2020-2021, the long 2 years, must have impacted it as well, the growth. I'll play a short video, just introductory, just to break the from talking. Just a short video to introduce crowdfunding. Okay. It's very much more to entertain you. It's almost a repeat of what I said earlier. But in Malaysia, just narrowing down to Malaysia, the crowdfunding really kick off more obviously on the peer-to-peer lending, the lending, giving out money and in return for a repayment with interest. This was actually kind of approved by the SC in 2014, and from there onward, we had a plethora of companies setting up as crowdfunding companies and platforms. You know, Funding Societies is one of the well-known one, a Malaysian. Actually, he's from Labuan. Calvin Teo. He's supposed to be with us, but it's a very, very busy guy. And there are various others. Yeah, we are proud of this because actually started by Sabahan or Labuan, who lives in Labuan, Harvard graduate. He met an Indonesian friend in Harvard. They were both doing their MBAs, and they founded Funding Societies. And now Funding Societies is in Malaysia, Singapore, in Indonesia, and Thailand now. So they're growing. They're funded by SoftBank and I think Sequoia as well. So big names funding them. That's mean pretty solid. So it's a very, very I was really hoping he can contribute, but he's a very, very busy guy. They are just opening Thailand right now, so they're busy. But they have Modalku also in Indonesia. I'll just play a short interview with Calvin.
Please do tell me about yourself and your...
I think there is no sound, Ken.
All right. Oh, sorry. There's no sound. Okay, let me. Good that you told me. Okay, let me So the earlier on, no sound as well, the earlier on.
Tell me about yourself and your company.
Sure, I'm Calvin. I'm the co-founder
Can you hear now?
Yes,
of
yes.
Funding Societies Modalku. We are a SME digital financing platform. So what that means is that we give loans to small, medium businesses that are seeking growth, and these loans are typically crowd-funded by individuals
Oh, sorry.
and/or institutions. Currently, we are licensed and operating in 3 countries: Singapore, Indonesia, and Malaysia. And in the last 4 years, we have given out about $500 million in loans, with a default rate of less than 1%, and that we are backed by Square Capital and SoftBank. So before founding Funding Societies, I was in professional services, having started my career with Accenture, followed by McKinsey, as well as KKR in private equity, before going to Harvard Business School, where we found that this business model may really make a fundamental impact in the lives of Southeast Asia by really helping the SMEs to grow, creating more jobs, and ultimately uplifting the whole societies together. And that's why we're doing all that.
And what would your company's vision be for the future?
I think our vision is to really support or provide more than $10 billion in loans to SMEs in Southeast Asia, because it may sound like a huge amount of money, but at the grand scheme of things, as small medium businesses are so underserved in this region, that if you are able to provide a meaningful amount of funding to help them to really grow, and they can really move the needle for the overall region by creating a significant amount of jobs and hopefully create a significant amount of wealth for the region as well.
Now, your involvement with the industry in the different sectors, and of course the emerging industries, the lines are being blurred a little bit. Do tell us, do you have a message for anybody really out there, for the audience, for the sectors, for the industry?
Sure, I think digital financing is here to stay with the whole offline to online movement, and I realize that sometimes any change can cause certain level of uncertainty and concerns, be it to regulators in how to manage it, or even in terms to existing incumbents or players. And I think we are really here to expand the pie, to really make an impact in the societies by really growing the group of customers that have fundamentally been underserved in the many decades that banking have existed, and that this whole attitude and commitment towards building a win-win and symbiotic relationship, I think that's absolutely critical, and that to achieve the fundamental goal of making a huge impact in Southeast Asia, we will need partners. And therefore, we really look forward to working with partners, or even sharing with them our perspective to really creating a better societies in Southeast Asia. And that's why we are called Funding Societies.
And yourself, you were panelists just now. Tell us how important this event is, and with these conferences, to bring all the industry leaders together.
So I think it's a great experience in terms of learning what other industry leaders are thinking, but also really sharing some of our observations that hopefully we can bring. We can help the industry to mature and grow in the right direction.
Well, thank you very much, Kelvin. Please do tell me.
Okay. They have opened up Indonesia. They have a license in Indonesia. Obviously, his business partner is Indonesian, so they call it Modalku in Indonesia. So this is a platform that we can tap on, assuming we're going for equity, or it's called a loan fund, crowdfunding. Now, I noticed in Malaysia there's a shift from crowd to institution joining as a crowd. So that's the shift in Malaysia. I think it's because there was a huge case in China where the P2P lending platform, the people ran away with money, and there's a huge lashback to that, and they start to tighten up, and that's why the requirement now getting tighter, and the institution, the more companies are more involved now, lending directly to this platform. And then, like this company, Lead Capital, is also a crowdfunding, very much on equity crowdfunding. It's a Malaysian company. iPivot.biz used to be called CrowdPlus Asia, also very active. Again, this is very much equity crowdfunding, share funding. This is the predominant model in Malaysia at the moment. It's quite understandable because it's a developing country, and the usual just very much more loose kind of funding, which is likely the reward base. Maybe it's not a thing yet, but it could be. Ethis or Ethis is very interesting. It's an Islamic crowdfunding platform. It's a pioneer in Malaysia, and obviously for our Muslim friends, they would probably be more comfortable with dealing with a platform like this, where it is Sharia compliant. From riba, as you know, it is haram to receive interest in Islam, and also whether it's going to be a game of chance element there, which is not halal in Islam. Therefore, a crowdfunding platform like Atheist exists to cater for that market, which is very, very fantastic. Now, Pitch In is actually one of the very few platform that I've seen venturing into some kind of reward-based crowdfunding. They're one of the biggest one. They've just started reward crowdfunding, which is very, very exciting. They primarily on equity crowdfunding or share crowdfunding. Now they're starting reward crowdfunding. They're quite big in a sense of achievement in a scheme of thing. This is a bit a year old, but they reached 100 million funding in end of 2020. So very, very active in Malaysia. And I found this one, which is very active, very much a reward-based crowdfunding Malaysian company called My Starter. It's very, very active. This one, obviously, very much targeted to a very Chinese kind of background. And this is very exciting platform. And these are kind of thing we can tap on. The last two are the two that I found, which is as a reward-based crowdfunding pioneers. So these are the one that we can emulate. I don't think they are very active in Borneo, Sabah, Malaysia. But if we know it, then we can access them from Borneo, from Sabah. Obviously, internationally, worldwide, there are so many platforms now. It's huge. In the USA, especially, crowdfunding is huge. So many startups have been funded with that. So many products designed, so many films have been funded with this. The biggest two are the Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Those are the two I'm familiar with. I have some dealing with them, but in the UK, I deal mainly with Cedar and Crowdcube. Those are the two that I'm more familiar with in London, where I used to work in East London, where it's called the Silicon Valley of London. So Kickstarter, although Kickstarter is not open to Malaysian yet, but it's open to Singaporean. It's not open to everybody. It's only because of, I'm not sure, I think it's to do with licensing again. Obviously, the Malaysian government could be a bit more stricter, but Singaporeans, but I have seen Malaysian startups use this platform. Maybe they have somebody in Singapore or even USA and UK go through that from overseas. But I believe there's certain ways they can still access this Kickstarter. This is huge. This is the most popular, one of the most popular beside Indiegogo. To raise fund, you can really raise fund. One thing about this kind of reward-based crowdfunding is that you can either be you must get the whole funding. Let's say you say, I need 100,000. If you don't raise that 100,000, you don't get at all. This is called all or nothing. That's a model in Kickstarter. So to go deeper in that, why do they do that? It's because to screen out the not so serious fundraisers. They want a more serious, more focused, and they are going to put effort into making sure they reach the target and be absolutely sure. And that shows in Kickstarter the success rate is much higher than the other platform is called Indiegogo, which I'll show later. Indiegogo, it's also very, very popular, but they have a model whereby you can raise, let's say you're going for 100,000 or 10,000, even though you do not reach that amount, you still get the funding. What that means though is that a lot of less serious, less professional, less determined fundraisers, a more casual one, then jump into this platform. Therefore, the success rate is lower. But people love this because they do not have this pressure of spending a lot of money for the campaign, and yet they may fail to reach the target and then get nothing. So people still love this platform, and I do too. As I said earlier, Kickstarter mainly for new and interesting products mainly. Okay, it's all for nothing mechanism. Yeah, you must reach your target. You must predetermine your target. Let's say you want for 100,000 or 10,000, 3,000. You must reach it. If you don't, if you go for 10,000, you only got 9,999. You still don't get it. You might be thinking why, but I have to explain. It really makes a lot of difference because people are really going to put a lot of effort to make sure they reach a target, because they'll be spending money to start this campaign. So the success rate in Kickstarter is higher, and also the level of trust from investors or crowdfunders are higher because they know they are more serious in their endeavor instead of a kind of semi-serious in Indiegogo. But each one has its own strength as well. But the success rate is higher in Kickstarter. Indiegogo is very much more on technology products. There are bicycles and all sort of things that have been designed, crowdfunded by Indiegogo. Here's a funny case. There's a guy called Zach Brown, or Zach Danger Brown. As a joke, he said, I want to raise $10 for a salad recipe. And he raised 61,000. It was a very funny case. He did it as a joke. And he ended up organizing an annual event called potato stock, like a Woodstock event every year. He'll organize an event every year using that funds, that extra funds he received. He only wanted $10, but he got 61,000. This is the power of crowdfunding. It's actually real. It came up in the news.
Well, it started as a simple online push to create potato salad. Now it's known as Potato Stock 2014. We told you about a man named Zach Brown who posted a Kickstarter project to raise money to make the side dish. Well, it quickly grew and now sits at just over $55,000 with more than 6,000 backers. Brown only needed $10, so what's he doing with all that extra cash? Well, he is hosting a potato salad themed festival with all proceeds going to charity.
When we set out.
So I share that because this is the power of crowdfunding. It can really take off. So it looks like a funny thing, but that's the whole point. I think people are sometimes going against the elite business and they'll just fund it for the sake of fun of it because it's a very small amount. This is the power of crowdfunding. People will fund you because they like you. So that's why I share that.
Well, it started as
on a serious note, the Oculus VR, as you know, was launched as a crowdfunding in Indiegogo. As the biggest, I think it reached almost 3.5 million. And as you know, that was bought by Facebook for 2.3 billion. So this is again the far side, how powerful crowdfunding it is. Was started, and in the end, 2014, within a span of 2 years. 2 years. It's worth 2.3 billion, bought by Facebook, by Zuckerberg. There is a case, a Malaysian case. The that raised fund in Indiegogo, they must have gone through Singapore, this one, which they raised 3 times of their target fundraising, which they managed to achieve through Indiegogo. As I say to you, and I'm more familiar with Seeder and crowdfunding, Crowdcube in London. And it is also an equity crowdfunding, an all or nothing model. I share this because it is possible with a connection in UK that things can be done for Borneo in London. And this is what I'm trying to explore. For instance, could be development in Borneo that could be funded from London. I'm looking at a project in Papar, the building of a Borneo house resort, a kind of not resort, more like a homestay kind of cultural center, which I'm exploring using crowdfunding from London. Now, crowdfunding actually is a huge potential for developing countries. Even the World Bank are into it. There's a report out there how crowdfunding actually can really be a force for entrepreneurship and social enterprise in Southeast Asia, especially in developing countries. This is an area I like very much to explore. It's very big in Europe, in UK, in USA, where they fund good causes, you know, like this one. They want to raise to empower 1,000 women, and they raise almost $17,000. This is the not-for-profit platforms. Now, I'm not sure if there are successful cases of this in Malaysia yet. I've tried to search. Maybe some of you can share with me later. And there's another one called Habitat for Humanity Global Village. They secured 18 million. This is a huge project with 92,000 donors almost. That's 18 million raised via crowdfunding. This is the power of crowdfunding. This is another case. They raised $21,000 for children cause, yeah. Velocity Kids Foundation. These are some of the examples. This is big in UK. A lot of very generous people just funding good causes in the UK using this model. I found in Malaysia there's a company. GoGetFunding.com is actually a UK company, but they do open it up to Malaysia. I've been trying to get example of any success on this, but very much I couldn't find any. But it is open. Is a new finding I've been trying to find. But this GoGetFunding.com is open to Malaysia, and we could explore that. Looking at the spread of the current fundraising campaign, I'm looking at it here. These Malaysia, 108% funded. They're small amount, almost $2,000, 1,000, 100% funded, 2006, 86% funded. This one is Malaysia again. This Malaysia again. This one is 62% funded, 61% funded. So they're small amounts. So it's powerful, although it's small. Imagine what a $5,000 can do to a small venture or charity in Borneo. These are the things that we could look at, even though it's small, 2,000, 5,000. That's why they get funded, because it's not too huge. So this is a very pleasant for me to see, to find. I didn't realize that there are actually a UK-based platform that opens to Malaysia. So having explored the various platforms, oh, it's almost an hour. Okay, I just like to quickly go through the journey map for a fundraising campaign. Obviously, you clearly need to have an idea or a project or cause that you need to be very clear about. and then you find the platform. Obviously, in Malaysia, it will be limited in terms of the crowdfunding reward base, but it is there for us to explore further, for us to develop. You choose a platform. Let's say you go to you're going for startups and you want to borrow, and then you go to Funding Society or the various platforms I mentioned earlier. And then you plan your campaign, assuming you are going for the reward or more the crowdfunding. You have to have a campaign. You have to create a community on Facebook. You've got to have a YouTube channel. You have to have good video. You're going to build a community, especially if you're going for the reward base or the startup for product design or a film or any project that requires a community, a fan base to support it. And that's enabled by social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all these combine to create your fan base. And they are the one who are going to fund you. You need to be constantly engaging this fan base so that they know you, they get to know you, they get intimate with your cause, and they fund you. And of course, at the fifth level, you promote the campaign. Once you have engaged, you've chosen the platform, and then you're serious, you've done your calculation, you've done all your planning, you created your videos and all that, and then you go for the campaign. And then once the campaign is complete, assuming it's successful, you fulfill your obligation. If it is a reward, you send them the reward or going to send the reward. Or if it's equity, then you give them the equity to your fan base. So that's basically a simplistic journey map for fundraising, for crowdfunding. Again, briefly, have a great idea, a product, service, business, budget and planning, and campaign viability in it. Obviously, just like starting a business, it is starting a business. And then you identify and compare different crowdfunding platforms. If you're going for equity, if you're going for lending, if you're going for donation, if you're going for reward, you have to identify. And then in UK, in USA, in Europe, we have professionals who will help you, called marketing agencies, will help you with the whole campaign. Obviously, that costs money. I don't think this is big in Malaysia, but in USA especially, they have specialist market agencies who will help you to carry out the whole campaign, and obviously they charge for it. So that's something that we could think about. You know, these are the enablers that should exist in Borneo. The marketing agencies should exist in Borneo, set up to enable this kind of fundraising. And of course, there's a pre-launch. You're building up the momentum. You got you know, daily release. There's videos and emails and tweets and Instagram, and this is the campaign. You got to make a very, very good, powerful video to introduce your product or your course or your service. That's very crucial. That's not very expensive nowadays. You can do it on Fiverr.com, and then you can create it, and it can cost you a couple of, it's not even expensive, maybe $100, $150, $250 for a 5 minutes video, or you can spend a lot more, of course, depending on how much you want to spend on it. But you can get a very decent video done. Obviously, the more you spend, the better it is, the longer and all that, obviously. And then you have to build a highly converting reward strategy. What do I mean by that? It must be rewarding enough. The reward must be so good that people would want to just give you their money, take out their credit card or debit card to pay in advance. So your product and your services must be good, and so that they are willing to part with their funds. Because then, unless they are equity crowdfunding, it got to be very, very compulsive. It must be so so powerful for them to fund you. Yeah, you got to craft a perfect campaign, a page and website creatively, and then launch it and get featured in many platforms, social platform, all the social media platform, Facebook, YouTube, and all the other platforms. Just to close, I'll play you. There is, I think there is reality show starting very soon in Malaysia called CrowdFundX, I think it is. Wow, that's a Crowd Factor X, a new program that's coming out in Malaysia apparently, and I'm not sure if you all heard of it. It sounds good. So just an hour long. I think just good for me to pause and stop. I hope that was useful. It's a very much a quick overview, and that's already almost like an hour for me. So I hope that was useful. And I'll hand over to Boyd to continue with the grant aspect, which is much more, also equally exciting and more relevant for the not-for-profit or the good causes. Boyd, you got to tell us your experience in this and your involvement and your actual hands-on experience in this grant funding. Over to you, Boyd.
Okay, thank you, Ken. Good day, everyone, from wherever you are. Morning, afternoon, or evening. I'm Boyd, and I'm from Sabah, from Pinampang, actually. And incidentally, the one that your crowd factor, Ken, one of them is actually a good friend of mine.
Oh, wow.
The older guy called Daniel Gambaro. He's actually from Milan, but he lives obviously in Malaysia. So that's interesting to see that he's part of that. So that could be a good one. I didn't realize that. So I'm going to watch him on that and see how it goes. But that could be a good fun. Okay, mine is very much not so much on the way Ken is doing that, because it's more on how you deal with this from the point of view of crowd, as it were, from everywhere else, from 10 ringgit to 5 ringgit to 2 billions that you can get. And it's been done in many countries. Malaysia, it's like Ken was saying, it's still very slow. So we're still trying to catch up, I guess, in some ways. But this is one of the areas that we can talk about it through this forum, because we want to come up with very topical things to share with you guys. And obviously there are others watching on Facebook on this one. So it doesn't look like many here, but on Facebook, there are quite a number too. So having said that, my topic is very much on experience, myself and my team. My team being, when I used to work for Iskandar Malaysia, Iskandar Regional Development Authority in Johor, promoting Iskandar Malaysia, which is the fastest. I'm very proud of sharing it, because although I'm around Sabah, but I was brought here, I'm still in here in Johor, to handle the environmental portfolio for Iskandar. So I was dealing with that in this huge size economic corridor, which is roughly 3 times the size of Singapore. So you can imagine there's a lot in there, but I was brought in for the purposes of environment, climate, and to deal with energy. So that is where I'm coming from. What I'm going to share with you is very much what my experience has been when I was there. I left last year. And more importantly is to share with you of the pitfalls, the way to do it. Some of this, Ken, is you've stolen my thunder, because some of the ideas I'm going to share is you've already spoken about, but nevertheless, it's a good thing, which means we are on the same vibe, as it were. And the next thing, of course, is very much the pitfalls that you need to be aware of. And more importantly, to tell you that you may not necessarily need money to do your plans or your projects, because you can get lots of ways, which I'm going to talk about. But it's very much involving a lot of people, like Ken was saying, and doing it the way it should be done, i.e. being a good neighbor, more or less. Neighbor in this case is the whole world, the whole number of funders, because we know for a fact that even from looking at the climate angle, we're talking about 300, 500 billion USD money that's available out there. Nevertheless, it's not that easy to get. From experience, it's not easy. Nevertheless, you can get it. And it all depends on how you pitch yourself, like Ken was saying. And more importantly is how you work together with other people. So I'm going to go through 22 slides. And at the end of this, hopefully this is just 40 minutes presentation, might be earlier. I will just talk some in more detail and to give you a flavor of what is happening and what can be expected. So if we will share the slides later on, of course, and you can have my slides, which are very much things that I've shared when I was at Iskandar. This is a briefing, by the way, to the at least 2 or 3 prime ministers who are the co-chairman of Iskandar Malaysia. And for that matter, of course, in Sabah is Sedia. So the Prime Minister of Malaysia, whoever he is, and the Chief Minister of Sabah are the co-chairman of each of those economic corridors. For my part is being a head of an organization on environment, I'm very privileged to be able to advise, if you like, the 2 important people, Menteri Besar of Johor and the Prime Minister of Malaysia. So, you know, this is a good thing. And this is some of the slides that I shared over the years to them and very important. So, okay, I'm going to share my slides. Have I got a permission on that?
Yes, you're co-host. You're co-host.
Co-host, yeah? Okay, I'll share. Wait a minute. Not that one. So, okay, if I lost that. Wait a minute. Yep. I'm going to find my, bear with me for a minute. I'm trying to find my slides. Can you talk for a minute, please? While I
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Exciting. Actually, we also have upcoming event in April. Is that you, Alan? Or in April, or is it you, Richard?
Yes, it's me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Talk a bit about the. Okay. He started. Okay, that's okay. It's okay. Now
Right.
let Boyd cover his topic. Sorry, Alan.
Okay,
We can cover that a bit at the end. Yeah.
Yep, one at a time.
Okay. I thought I
okay,
let him
very much.
fill up.
As you can see, funds from international agencies, and I'll give an example of IRDA, Iskandar Regional Development Authority, where I was the head of environment for roughly 10 years. And of course, the economic corridor is called Iskandar Malaysia. And I'm showing you a picture that was drawn by my son, Archie. Of course, it's a clock. But what intrigues me on this is how much detail he put that in. So I just want to kind of put ideas in your head that what is important is the detail. And that's important when you go for pitching or when you want to get money from somebody else, which you don't have. Money being in this case, I'm looking at not so much on money from the federal government of Malaysia or from the government or the state government. I'm looking at how to get money from outside. Not so much crowdfunding, but in terms of where can you go? Can you have access to the 300 billion? Who else can you go, like JICA, which I'll talk about, and then UNDP and others. So this is where I'm coming from. But I put that picture because I will come back to that later on. But I just want to show you to here the importance of detail in your potential proposal. And okay, I will go to the next one. As you can see, I will go through each of these slides. It's kind of dry, but it gives you a bearing on how important it is and what you need to do. Because although it's shown in a fairly straightforward, because this is a presentation to a prime minister and a chief minister. Nevertheless, it's important to show it in a very little detail. In fact, behind that, of course, there's a lot of work to be done. So I just will go through this quickly and give you a flavor. You can have a copy of this at the end, and you can even approach these guys and these people that I will do that, or I will try to help you in some way. So number one that we've done is through UNDP, United Nations Development Program. And within that, they have a funding called from the Global Environmental Facility, who actually has the money. And this is part of the 300 billion that you can get from different places. They provided the money. UNDP is the partnering organization because you need an international partner to go for this kind of funding. And this funding, by the way, is called the Green Technology Application for Development of Low Carbon Cities. And I actually was part of the bidding for this project, for this funding. And I can tell you, it took a long time to get to the point where we got the money. It took 6 years. We thought 3 years, but eventually, given the bureaucracy and the way things are done, and because we're talking about a lot of different people involved, one of which is Iskandar Malaysia. And I was the team that also prepared the bidding papers. Nevertheless, it took 6 years. The project became a 5-year project for Malaysia. This is called GTA LCC. In short, we call it GAT LCC, just to make it easier. So through that, this is all going back, obviously, I'm talking about, and this is done, finished last year. Very successful. It had an impact on how federal government now looking at things like SDG. They even started an SDG center, and then have a green technology center and things like that. So those are the products of this study. Within Iskandar Malaysia, it's not only Iskandar Malaysia that was involved, but 6 authorities that I also brought in, which is within Iskandar. So in a sense, we got 7, a big chunk of the money. But by the way, it's not big money, obviously, but we can deal with it. It's like 200,000 ringgit, not bad. It means money that you can run programs every year for your project. And it's very much relating to this topic, as you can see. Policy support, awareness, obviously important, because climate is a real jargon word. GSG emissions, greenhouse gas emissions, things like low carbon technology, training, of course, important. So all of this, a lot of work to be done. And you need to get, and this is part of the work to get this kind of money, is to work with other entities, whether it's local, international, in this case, UNDP area for the whole of Asia, as well as international. It could be GCOM, Global Covenant of Mayors, for example, and other entities. Japan is involved also in this one through Iskandar Malaysia, which is a close partner of Iskandar. So these are the things you need to do if you want to look at getting funding. Not necessarily huge money, but nevertheless, if you have 5, if you like low-hanging fruits that you can do, that's how we did it. We made use of that money. We pitched for that money. Each of the 5 local authorities got money in the end, plus Iskandar. So I was clever enough in that sense because I said, yes, Iskandar Malaysia, but within that, you have another 5 local authorities. So each of them got something, so which is good. The other one that my mate Simon Christopher, who's on the platform, attended called GCOM last week. Within that, this guy called Mr. Lee from Putrajaya. He also got money from this project. So all of these are kind of working together, getting it done, and then, but you need to pitch it really well through your partner, which is UNDP and the local authorities. Now, the second one is even bigger, this JICA program. This is only a small part of a bigger picture, which I need to unscramble the pictures really, but the big project is called Low Carbon Society Blueprint Preparation, which is a 5-year project. It's the most successful project in Malaysia, funded by JICA. Now, again, that is money from outside. And it's how you pitch for that money and how you need to do your homework to get that money in the end. But this one in particular, I put it here in the fact that it's still running 2020 to 2023. And the idea here is to create what's called an eco center, where everything relating to the environment can happen. I visited one that is already in Kyoto, which was built for the purposes of the Kyoto Protocol. And from that, I got the ideas of how to build an eco center. Then I got another bigger idea, which is also I'll share later on, is having an center of excellence for Sabah in this case. And how do we do that is trying to get money through that, but working with Kyoto City, the NGOs there, as well as JICA. And because we know JICA over the years, I know them now for at least 12 years, and having a wonderful partner from UTM called Professor Ho Chin Seong, who spoke in this forum last year. Together, we managed to get money. So this is one of the things we're doing now. Also from this project, we're trying to get money for Sabah, which I'm trying to get. And it's a follow-up. It would be, if it does happen, it could be 2024 to 2026 or 27. But we need to pitch it, and I need to do some big homework. So at the end there, I've given you a contact email. I can let you know who they are, because they have become good friends of mine, and have the connection and start talking. Okay, the next one is UN Environment, another branch of the UN platform. Through this one, it's under what's called SE for all, Sustainable Energy for All. And it's a initiative by the UN Secretary General. And it started before the new one, but it's been going on. Again, this is for Iskandar, obviously. And through that, we got very little money on this one. However, the bigger part is recognition of the work that we're doing in Iskandar. And it's as good, because once they recognize you and they know that you are in the global platform, especially if you pitch even more in other places like the Conference of Parties, they will get to know you, and then they will start thinking how we can work together. So here again, the name Sonia Milicevic, for example, that they can connect and talk to and have a conversation. The other ones are still GTA, LCC. As you can see here, funding are to do with additional funding that I managed to get before I left IRDA, which is the GSG inventory and the Building Energy Monitoring and Reporting System, BEMRS. This one, we work with none other than the Tokyo Metropolitan Government. How good is that? It's to do with how you pitch, how you work together, and the connection is important. So the more you are in a public platform, whether it's online like this, or going to events, big events, like the Urban Forum, for example, the World Urban Forum, or the Asia Pacific Forum, or the UNFCCC Forum, for example. All of these are important for recognition purposes and getting them to know you better. Personally, if you meet them, that's even bigger. That's how you get to a point where things might happen. As I said, it doesn't happen immediately. Nevertheless, it could be a matter of just 1 or 2 years and you get the money. So, you know, that's a plus for everyone. Now, this one that I was involved in for a short time, it's called the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy, GCOM. It's a global platform. There's, I think, 11,000 members now, member cities. In Sabah, there are 3, Kota Kinabalu, Penampang, Tawau. West Malaysia, you got Seberang Perai, Iskandar Putri, and I think 4 more. So it's not many. However, this particular platform is one that I'm very proud of as well, because I brought him in. I got talking to the guy called Pablo Gandara, who became a good friend of mine. And pitched for the idea of, why don't you bring GCOM to Malaysia? He did try it before, but it wasn't successful. So when we got together, we clicked quite easily. That's important again, learning and working well with your counterpart, as it were. And through that, we brought then GCOM into Malaysia in March 2019, in Iskandar, Malaysia, of course, because I was working there. So I promoted GCOM very big, got everybody, local authorities involved in Malaysia, and it became a very important platform for Malaysia. And I'm very proud of the fact that there are at least 3 cities from Sabah involved in the process. So this again is another good one, but you could look at the second column, 1 and 2, GCOM Asia, and IURC, International Urban and Rural Cooperation Australia, Asia. And the countries are many: India, China, South Korea, Japan, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Indonesia. So all of this, very, very big platform. And I was fortunate enough to work there for 6 months, paving the way of what they need to do in all those countries, and Malaysia in particular. So that's how it transpired. I'm still a kind of an advisor to them even today. But the important thing is, if you can get to this kind of platform, it can build confidence of other people that here, Sabah, we're talking about Sabah now, might be a good place to come and look closer, because we have the money. Let's work together and try to get it. So through this, as you can see, this lady here, Eleonora, she is one of the head researchers at the European Research Center under the European Commission. And she came to Malaysia with a team. And this is it. It led to the preparation of what's called CCAP for the 3 cities in Malaysia and in Sabah, and the 6 cities in Peninsula. So through that, they got recognition. Now, the next thing is, how do we implement KK, Tawau, Penampang, and the others, CCAPs? And through that, then you can get a pitch for the money from the European and from other countries, because the Global Covenant of Mayors is a global platform. It covers the whole world, literally. And how do you get to do that is, one, you can work together with, let's say, Penampang, because of the flooding. It can work with San Sebastian in Spain, who also had experienced flooding in a big way and solved it. So how do we get Penampang to work together with them, for example? So others could be circular economy, could be pollution, and other things. So there are 2 platforms here that we can still get engaged, and potentially, for at least for Borneo, I think, a good opportunity for looking further and to look for money if we want to do that. But again, I will talk about that. It's not easy. As you can see here, that again, the JICA project is very, very big. And here are some of the outputs. By the way, it's kind of Malaysia greenhouse gas inventory. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first one in Malaysia. And we produce another 2 more after that. So we are way advanced, because one of the things that when I was working in Iskandar is the fact that I can do crazy things. If the CE, chief executive, like it, go ahead. If it doesn't, drop it and then try something else. So it's a platform where it's not rigid in that sense. So I get to try lots of things. And more importantly, I get to try it because I got money from outside, from other countries. So, you know, I'm not using taxpayers' money. I'm using money from outside, other countries' taxpayers. The other one here, as you can see, is Gaia, which I coined, called Green Accord Initiative Award. It's to recognize buildings or institutions that have really done their homework into going green. So it's a bit like a bigger entity of the GBI, for example. And in this case, we recognize the building and the work done by that authority or by the company, and we give them an award. Through that, they could actually sell properties. Some of those companies were using this Gaia award to sell their properties, especially when they get it a 5-star award. It's free, by the way. All you got to do is submit your details. It's scrutinized by an independent group of judges, and then you get your reward. Or if you fail, then you start something else. But this is some of the work that I have been doing with my team. I have a small team, but they're very efficient. I got 9 scientists working on this, and it worked really, really well. So this is some of the work that I want to share with you. And as you can see here, the other small ones that we got, and again, it's about, one is being at the right place at the right time. 2, you are always visible somewhere, whether it's locally, at the conference. By the way, I encourage all of us here, if you get the opportunity to be asked to go and speak, or if you want to go and speak, please go. There's never there's always an opportunity that you might get some connection there that says, okay, your project is interesting, I'm going to fund it. That's how I did it on mine. And by the way, for me, it worked every time because I'm not asking a lot. I'm only asking certain amount. And many of them actually funding in kind. They will just do the work because it works for them. And they are doing a pitch maybe, or they want to fund it because they got money from somewhere. And then that's it. It's a plus for you. So this is some of the things that we did. And we work together. We work with Mizuho Research, one of the large institutions, as well as a bank in Japan and internationally. How good is that? Metropolitan government. And by the way, Tokyo Met government is one of the biggest entities ever globally. And we're working with them. And they're so advanced, by the way. If possible, one day, I'm really hoping that I can bring some of you guys and others to go to Japan and visit some of the places I've been to, because they are worth visiting. There's so many different ideas. If any of you heard about what's called Fujisawa, it's Fujisawa, if you can check that one. Fujisawa Sustainable Smart Town. This is a smart town development, all connected to electronics and digital. What a place. If you can bring it here. I tried to bring it here, but it didn't work because of, that developers just want money and it didn't happen. Nevertheless, here is an opportunity that we can do that. I can share my experience of going to Japan and share some of the ideas that, not ideas, things that I can see and when to see. Tokyo, there's a building in the Tokyo station, which is one of the biggest in the world, which is pure green building. This is not just airy-fairy green building. This is really, really designed and built and operated and maintained as a green building. And we're talking about a whole building, by the way, not just one building. It's actually a complex. So this is how advanced they are. And why not Malaysia? Why not Sabah? Okay, for that matter. And then you go other parts. This is in-kind funding, number 4. I was involved for 5 years on what's called the high-level seminar on environmentally sustainable cities. This one is, again, by Japan, funding from ASEAN, and is very much just a sharing platform. But the outcome of this 2-day event, seminar, is a set of recommendations to be sent to the environment ministers of ASEAN. So again, another big platform that we can really go into and be part of. It's still going on because it's a wonderful thing, but of course mine is finished, as it were, but others will be able to do that, whether you're in government, private, or in local authorities, for example. Another one is what's called the joint crediting mechanism. I won't look too much into this, but it's very much another way you can get money for your projects. And we did one small project called on renewable energy mini hydro hybrid. It's a combination of solar and water, seawater. And through that, we're able to get one building, an office, to run on electricity. And because of the use of that renewable energy, it's free. And money is more or less in kind. Now, the other one that, because of the pitch on several occasions globally, mainly in my involvement in the UNFCCC COP, I got to know a guy called Tadashi from OECD, and he was doing a project. So I got involved together with him, and he got interested. He's interested because he's got the money and he's got an agenda to finish for ASEA. So I got involved with that one. That one, we didn't pay anything. The money all came from the OECD. Again, I said, if you are in the right place, you meet the right people, sometimes you don't really need the money. They will give it to you. So that's another platform. The other one is the United Nations University. We created what's called the Regional Center of Expertise for Education on Sustainable Development by the UNU in Tokyo. This one, very much an entity that is already existing. And I think for some here, for example, from Simon, can use this platform. Or we create one in Sabah or in KK or Penampang just for this kind of purpose where it's a platform that we can share knowledge. By the way, I mentioned it to Alan previously, because he's in New Zealand, where I think it was Waikato RCE that we work together with. So that's another platform that we can pitch and work together with in the future. Again, the same thing, it may not necessarily need money to run, because this one doesn't. It's purely a platform for sharing. But of course, what is good is it's got IRDA and it's got University Technology Malaysia as the main. I'm the co-chair together with Professor Ho on this one. So together we work to make this thing happen for Iskandar. And it's doing wonders in a small way. Other ones, as you can see here, JICA, another one. I just want to mention here, the name here, Florence Tan, that you guys can write to. If you do want to do that and you have an idea, but you have to come up with your proposal, depends on the proposal. And if you, she's a good friend of mine. We worked for at least 8 years now, 8-9 years. And it's she's somebody that we can go to. She's Malaysian, but she works at JICA KL. And she can be a conduit to get to JICA itself and find a way of getting your project of the platform, as it were. Every year, by the way, or every 2 years, Malaysia, because it's a government to government, Malaysia come up with something like 30 different projects that they want to go through with the Economic Planning Unit of Malaysia and JICA Malaysia. Together, if they get that next stage, you get to the third stage, and you go to the final list, you get your money. That's what we did for ours. When we pitched for the Low Carbon Society project, as I mentioned earlier, it's the most successful. We got 9-point-something million ringgit. Not bad. If we could do a project for 5 years, extended another 2 years, and very well done. And it did wonders for my team and my work, and that's why it got very exciting, because all the spin-offs are huge for Iskandar Malaysia. That's why it's very advanced. I have to say that, because it's compared to the other 4 corridors, Iskandar Malaysia is the most advanced. And actually, in terms of money, it's putting in a lot of money, foreign direct investment, to Malaysia's treasury. That's how good it is. But it's a kind of working together to get to that point. But please contact this person and CC me on that, so that she knows that where it's coming from now. So we can work together on that part of it. The other one, as you can see here, I won't go too much into this, but here are now, I'm going to talk about a few slides now where there are potential for money that you can go for your project. It could be about natural resources, about research relating to that, capacity building, and how do you work together in terms of nature. So there's another angle. Biodiversity is one, forestry division. Down below there is one of my team when I was there dealing with that. But it's one area. Another one, of course, now this one is quite, I want to talk about this one a bit more, because this picture here is called the Saget River. In the olden days, during the British, it's actually called Seagate. And when Malaysia got into it, it became Saget. But now it's open. When I started 10 years back, 12 years back in Johor Bahru, this is Johor Bahru town, there's no river there. The river was covered because it's just mud, extremely smelly, very dirty, very polluted. But about 3 years back, 4 years back, no, 5 years now, we opened it up. Now you can see the river. Our template is actually Chongicheon River in Seoul. Of course, it's nowhere near, but nevertheless, here today, the fish are back. And that's my pitch when I talk to people. The fish are back in this river and spawning. How good is that? But now even more, because they have landscaped it. If you are in Johor Bahru at some point, come to this place at night. It doesn't look like that because it's so much landscaping. You can sit nearby, you can walk around, and generally it's a beautiful place. Now, what's intriguing about this is the highlight that I've shown you here, because again, that's why it takes a long time when you're doing all this pitch that you're doing. I happened to be in Bonn for a COP conference, and when Chow is a friend of mine from UTM, were in the train, we got talking to a lady who happened to be the CEO of the Global Infrastructure Basel Foundation. And she talked about this SURE certification. SURE is Sustainable Infrastructure Certification. And for some reason, because I like the idea, I managed to ask her to come to Johor Bahru. The opportunity was the Asia Pacific Forum in Penang, but she couldn't go because she retired. But her immediate successor was able to come, and we got talking, and then we shared a pitch in terms of presentation in Apuf, and then he came over and looked at this river, and then he said, okay, this is a great one for my certification. So that's how we got that one. At the same time, after we were doing that, we also managed to get an additional freebie, i.e. they also did a certification process with schools called the Children-Friendly Infrastructure. How do the kids like this place? How user-friendly is it? Can wheelchair go there? Can prams go there? Can it be used by everyone? And yes, the answer, it can. And it was a really good exercise. So we got 2 certifications out of nothing, and we didn't pay anything out of that. It's all about pitching and friendship. And when you do that, there's a huge opportunity to go for. And that's what happened for this particular one. Now, UNDP, of course, and GEF funding funds a lot of things, anything from biodiversity to protection of the environment, right up to indigenous population, communities, and urban forests. So there's a huge number of things that you can get money from through GEF. And if you have a partner called UNDP or another partner, no problem. And here's an address that you can go to and go talk to them. Or if you want, then I can be there as well. This small grants program, by the way, Sabah has been getting them quite a lot because their forestry department in particular, very, very good at getting money from the small grants program. So it's a good plus for us. Now, I won't go through this too much, but here are some of the other areas that is covered. Farming, land degradation. A lot of this can be said about Borneo and what is happening in this region of the world. So we can go for that and get funding from there. Again, not too much on this now, but very much we work with UNDP, and then we got some money out of this, not big, but nevertheless, it's money that we would not have been able to use or have to run projects. Now, then there's an interesting one, which is every 2 years, I think, called the Newton Unku Omar Fund. It's a partnership between the UK and this fund. It's available. Every 5 years, they have this amount of money. And a range of topics, anything from energy to security, future cities, digital innovation, health sciences, that kind of thing. It is available, and it's, I think every few months they come over from the UK. They have a pitch, we can talk together. And I was part of that at some point, but we didn't get a project. Nevertheless, it's a good platform to go for because the money is available there from the UK. And then you go, another way is through different initiatives, such as with Toyama City in the west of Japan. We became very good, close friends. Here is another opportunity now. And eventually I managed to get KK, mayor, and the Toyama mayor together. Toyama mayor came to KK, talked to, at the time, Yobun Hai. They became very good friends. And now they are working together on a renewable energy project in Kyeonsom in Innam. So, you know, I managed to get it together, and it seems to be working. But of course, COVID is in the way at the moment. Nevertheless, it's a good platform and a good way of coming together. I work a lot with Kitakyushu at the time, until now even. So I have contacts there, and if you guys need some potential connection, I can be the conduit for this kind of thing. eClay's Daring Cities is another way of doing this, about nature-based solutions. A good platform. I know quite a lot of people at eClay, and then we can go and talk to them now. So again, so many things. Now, these are new things, by the way. Things like the Green Climate Fund available, covering these main topics: climate change, urban planning, energy. But if you expand that, there's a lot of things that covers in that. And the guy called Drazen Kuchan, who is very open. He's got the money, by the way. All he needs is a very good pitch, a very good platform, worthy for to be done and duplicatable globally. Then that's what he's looking at. But the scrutiny is very strong because we're talking about other people's money on this one. Another project that we've been trying to get is SDG for Malaysia. Again, first time around, we didn't get it, but we are applying again to see how it works. And the other ones that you can go for are Rockefeller Foundation. They're doing their second round now, which is already completed, by the way. So the third one will probably be another, I think another 2 years from now. There's another platform. ASEAN, they're funding there that you can go for and get. European Union, I've already mentioned earlier. If you can get a good pitch on that, there is such a funding called the Switch Asia, where Malaysia qualifies, and we can look on that in terms of climate. AFIAP, talking again about, AFIAP is based in Philippines, but again, the money that is from other countries, from the 300 billion that you can see. eClay, as I mentioned earlier, the US, of course, US aid, very, very strong. Not easy to get, but we've tried it, but we didn't get it. But nevertheless, it got recognized that way. C40, by the way, is involved with President Clinton's organization. Very, very strong. If you look at their website, there's a lot of projects. Some of those projects can be in Malaysia. There is a C40 office in Malaysia, in KL. So another way that we can go and talk to them. And many more. It's a lot of things like the National Climate Finance. This is UNFCCC. As you can see, there's so many different funds that you can think of at number 20 that you can go for. It just means that you need to do the right way of doing things, your research, as Ken mentioned earlier. And then this one we tried, going back to what I said earlier about the Center of Excellence that we did. We did a study, we did the homework. There is a need for this kind of COE in this kind of Malaysia. So we tried to get funding from BirdLife, Mangroves for the Future. This is a Netherlands-based entity, Science Partnership from the US, and REMSA. And we talked to a lot of people and got them excited. We were very excited, but we didn't get the money. It would be 2 million ringgit to do the project, an initial feasibility study. So it could have been good, but nevertheless, what I'm trying to say is the money is available, and you can get it if you try hard enough, I guess. So I just give you some examples. I got another 2 more slides. What is important is not only the fact that the money is there, but how you go and get it. It cannot be that you just sit back and expect it to come. It won't happen. You have to go there, talk to people, launch events, be part of events. And here, I just want to show you 3 places. One is the former MITI minister, Dr. Daryl from Penampang, my MP. And I got him to come to launch the Global Covenant of Mayors in Hayat, in KK. And that's when KK, Tawau, and Penampang became members of GCOM. But it needed his pitch for Europe to say, this is a great idea. And okay. And when the Europeans come, they realize Borneo is beautiful, Sabah is beautiful, and they stayed longer, and they're coming back again, possibly after COVID. Now, the first one that I did was in March 2019. This guy is important, by the way, guys, if you get an opportunity. This guy on the left, Pablo Gandara, he's a close friend of mine, or became close because we worked together so much, and I helped him a lot in bringing GCOM to Malaysia. So him, if we get an opportunity, let's talk to him and then see where there is an opportunity to get money or to get some funding from the project for that. He's got the money, by the way, but it just means we need to work together. The other entities, of course, the two in the middle with the paper are Putrajaya and Datu Mahadi, who is the mayor of KL. These two are good friends of mine as well, and they became members of GCOM at the time. The guy on next to Dr. Benadia is head of the UCLG, United Cities and Local Government Asia Pacific, Secretary General, and she's always there, and she's still in this particular project. The guy in the middle is the Minister of Environment for Johor, who became a good friend, and we work really well together because it's a new government now. The guy on the other side is the former chief executive of IRDA, who gave me the opportunity to really expand and make environment a big thing in Iskandar. So through these people, there are opportunities for that. And by having them, it's one of the things that you need to do when trying to get funding is the pitch, the networking, capacity building, the appearance, and being always in the public eye in some way. And that's how you can get a long way from that. I'll show you a picture of my wife and Archie, his picture in the beginning. We were together in Katowice in 2018. And very cold, but nevertheless, I always bring my family because it's a great opportunity for them to see a different part of the world. So finally, guys, this is my last picture. That's my son, Archie. Now it's all to do with pitch, like Ken was saying. How do you engage? How do you make people notice and to want to do your idea? It's very much like the crowd game that you were talking about, Ken. But here, I'm showing you Archie because he was explaining to me about trains, about rockets. By the way, he's talking about the rockets from Elon Musk rocket, SpaceX. And he's excited about this thing. The first one is a kind of early version of the drone. And then he hasn't drawn a circle yet. But these are the things you need to do. One is do your homework really well, do your research really well, make a plan. And then you brainstorm with your team and go talk to people in the right platform, if you like, or talk to people that you meet in the conferences. My pitch is always, if I go to conference, I talk to a maximum of 10 people only. Not small talk, but try to get something out of that. So you have to look out who that you want to go for. And then bring it down to 5 people that you want to follow up later on because they got something to give or potential as a conduit for somebody else. It's not unethical, by the way. It's a great way because they're doing the same to you. When I present, they come to me and then we talk together and something happens. So these are some of the things you need to consider when you are going for grants, for funding from private institutions. Not the government, because the government is, you probably get it because it's government money anyway. But the harder part is how do you get money outside the team? So decide what you want. What exactly do you need that money for? And why it's important to you. If you're half-hearted, you have to drop it because it won't work when you pitch either. After all that, then you do your business plan. A really, really good one, well done. If you get asked by a group of people in a Shark Tank, let's say, you know what to say and you know how to answer it because you need to think how they might want to know about the project because they have the money and you are pitching for that kind of money. Go pitch, involve stakeholders as many as you can and involve people in your team to do that work. By the way, it's not all my work, but my team has been able to do that. And you need to teach them how to go and work together to pitch for that. So you have to go get it. Don't expect the money to come to you. You have to go out there and look for the money, but it's all there. And going back to this picture, as you can see there, the bottom one, I've already talked about how much detail is important. You need to know all the details that you need to realize to be able to get there. And I put in here that picture in the top left. There's a train about the moon and people, about the sun and houses. And then I realized here you're talking about what you need. It's about the environment in this case, and it's about energy, for example. So that's how I interpreted Archie's idea of this clock. And it's quite interesting that he put all the clock numbers outside of the circle. And then he talked about what is important. And then that's it. It's the detail of your project, how you get to do it, and how you want to engage people to get your idea. So that's it. It's a bit overly long, I suppose, but good luck with that. I'll be happy to help in make the connections. And at the same time, as I always tell my team at the time, have fun doing it. Don't make it a burden. Just have fun. I think Ken will do the same in his work. Just have fun and good luck. Ken, okay.
Wow,
Finish.
thank you very much, Boyd. My goodness, that was so interesting. At this level, not many of us have experienced this kind of grant seeking and procurement. And thank you very much. You ought to write this down to share, and you using your son's drawing, make it so nice to be part of your son's mind as well. Amazing. He's Elon Musk in the making.
Yeah.
Amazing. Very smart boy. Very smart boy. Thank you very much, Boyd. Now, perfectly finished 45 minutes. So we've done almost quarter to the 2 hours, and we will open for Q&A, and then we will then round it up and then ask Alan, our VP, to present his pitch for his next Borneo Forum as well. So if you all could ask any question, raise your hand. Go ahead. Anyone?
Am I still on screen?
Yes, you are still. You want to?
Yeah. Can you
and
take me out?
You can end your screen share.
There is a few questions on the chat box, Ken, if you can look.
Okay. Let me. Okay. I see. I've got mine on chat. Chat. Okay. Chat. Okay. What's the question? Oh, I do apologize that my video without sound. I forgot to share the sound. I need to share sound. I keep forgetting that. Information. Interesting wall. Okay, hello. Okay, Eunice Fong. I'm from BFC Research and Development, working as research support officer. My company, which is also a cooperative, gather all tree planters to become our members or share knowledge R&D. Okay. Not sure if there is any grant that is related to R&D for tree plantation. All right, I think grants, that's your area, Boyd. She's asking about grants in R&D for tree plantation. Do you have any inkling of such fund?
As I was showing you my slides earlier, there are grants available. We need to just go and see the right people to begin with. I can share it later on in terms of where to go to and how to try and get it. But they're grants. They're grants literally for everything available.
Yeah, you're right.
And
you're right.
Like eClay, for example, Daring Cities, they have money there. What they usually do is they want to be part of the program, obviously, because it's kind of good for them. So we involve with them, let's say, and then we do the project together more or less, but the money is from them. And it will help them achieve some of their targets annually, for example. So it's the amount of money depends on how big your project is. I think it's a medium-sized project, or it's going to make a big difference to an urban landscape, let's say, by softening it with green, then that's a good angle to do that. But yeah, one source is eClay, ICLEI, and there are other ones. Even the small grants project and UNDP also provide money for that kind of thing. But yeah, we need to go and come up with a good idea and then pitch for that.
Yeah, Eunice, the best thing is for you to drop your number there, and also Boyd can drop his number there and you get in touch. He's right. When it comes to tree planting, there's a lot of funds out there. It's a question of putting the groundwork and start applying. And obviously,
Yeah.
it all depends on how big your project is as well. That's good. Thank you very much, Eunice. I'm not sure what BFC is. Borneo Forest. I'm not sure. Do you know BFC Research Development? I'm sure. Drop your contact there, Eunice, please. And there's a lecturer from UMS, lecturer, Faculty of Sustainable Agriculture. This kind of thing, Alan. James, he says it's about grants for R&D in it is fruit production and post-harvest handling technology. Okay, you're asking about technology. Presumably, you're interested in the funding of it. I assume, James. Now, that is not my area, but you have any idea on that, Alan?
No, but I know Dr. James. I think he has planted a fruit trees in Keningau, and he's very passionate about it. And obviously, he's also like all of us. He's also facing some funding constraint, I think. Yeah. So yeah, he's very passionate about it, and being somebody who has a good training in agriculture, I think he's very much in the position to drive this project. Yeah, so if we can help him, that would be good.
Remember the center in Papar? What was it called?
Saip.
I'm sure he has heard of it, but I'm not sure how good they are still in helping in the facility. If he's talking about the infrastructure for R&D, they are very much into that SIPE. So you can always link to Alan. Alan has the contact of SIPE, and in fact, the lady is in our group as well. So thank you very much, Dr. James. Thank you very much indeed. Next question. We need Jimmy's coordinator of community-led environmental awareness for river in Moyog, Penampang. Okay, welcome, Winnie. Please get in touch. Drop your number there so that we can get your number and be in the group as well. We'd love to hear about your project. These are the thing. These are the thing that we're here for. To connect as a platform and keep collecting, adding you to a group. I know there's so many groups, but then it's worth building our network. This is what we want to do. So when you drop your contact there, we can download this chat and we will have it in our record. Okay, thank you very much, Alan. Thank you, Alan. Eunice for okay.
Ken,
yeah.
Talking about Moyog River, because it's close to my heart because I'm from Penampang as well. Winnie is doing a really good potential work. She has started on this, but it's very much the looking after, cleaning up, landscaping, and awareness for the Moyog River, because that it's either overflowing or most likely in the dry season is nearly dry. So some of the issues are things like landslides or riverbank slides, as well as river flow. So she is doing this together with homestay project that she's doing on the Moyog River. It's a good, I think there's an opportunity here where Borneo Forum or you guys online can be part and parcel of this small project. It's been going on, I believe this, but maybe Winnie can share a bit more, and how we can get communities together to love the river, but not just love it, but do something with it. And I think my mate Simon is going to be talking to Winnie on that in terms of how they're going to work together from the idea of plastics and something related to that. So possibly maybe Simon can share a bit more, or Winnie, please do.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'd love to. Yeah, thanks, Boyd, and hi, Winnie, and hi, everyone. Sorry, I had a bit of a power issue, so I dropped out for the last 10, 15 minutes, but I'm back now. Just a quick one. So there's been a bit of a stop-start to the launch of Love KK program, but it's just started today. It was launched by KK Mayor, various ministers, and Datu Abidin, and we were all there. I had the pleasure of meeting up with Winnie 2 or 3 weeks ago, about probably 3 weeks ago now, with Adrian Lazenbani, and we are about to launch a Rivers of Life Sabah Borneo program, starting with Moyog River, with Claire, with Winnie, and her amazing group, which obviously, like everything in the last 1 or 2 years, has been slightly had the rug pulled from beneath their feet. But we are just finalizing our agreement with different embassies, and the German embassy have put us in touch with One Earth, One Ocean, and they are giving us a fund each month to kickstart beach and river collection of plastic, with which we are then going to start our trials of plastic to furniture and plastic to building materials as part of KK Sabah Plastic Neutral. So this month we're doing another quantitative beach clean of Likas Bay later this month, and in May we're looking to do a project kickstarting Rivers of Life of Sabah with Moyog River, with Winnie and Claire and Tonibon, Adrian Bani's organization. So Winnie, I haven't disappeared. I've been in KL the last 2 weeks, but looking forward to re-engaging with you and Bani, Adrian, probably, if not next week, definitely the week after that. But looking forward to our next chat. But maybe you could just share a bit more about Claire and the problems and the great progress you've made, but obviously we need to kickstart that whole process, and that's what we're looking to do from May onwards, starting with your project on Moyog River.
Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, thank you, Simon, for quoting Clear also. Clear, or community-led environmental awareness for river. Yeah, we have started back in 2012, and well, I think cleaning the river is not an easy job. But what we did is trying to reconnecting people to the river. And one of our successful event is the Pesta Rakyat, which we actually organize in conjunction with the World Rivers Day every September. But for the past 2 years, we didn't have it because of the pandemic. Okay, well, yeah, we will be working with Simon with Blue Hope, and I hope we can solve problem of plastic in our Moyog River, not just the river but all the tributaries, including the Parit Juta of the whole of KK Penampang. So we are looking forward to that one, River of Life. Yeah, and what we from our community is trying to introduce now is on eco pelancongan lah, the ecotourism. As we have introduced this bamboo rafting festival, so we want it to be like a tourism attraction in Moyog, especially in the downstream of Moyog River. When you talk about upstream, I think the problem is not as bad as the downstream, because we are the endpoints of everything lah, from A to Z. So what we are trying to do is we want to have this social enterprise of coming up with bamboo rafting, where we can attract tourists to our Moyog River. And that is how we want to reconnect people and the river, the nature. So I hope to look for fun on this one. We are already in discussion with our community how to start with this, but I think funding is a problem. So I hope Boyd can help assist us on that one. I'm very familiar with SGP and also UNDP because we have received fund. We clear have been doing a lot of programs since the last 10 years, and we receive fund from GAF and also I think twice from GF and also from Shell Malaysia. So that's how the program we can organize program for the River Moyog. Yeah, I cannot say that the Moyog River is very clean now, but at least some communities are connected to the river. You can see there are jetties prepared not just by the government, contributed by the government, but also built by the own community, where you can see that the ones dumping ground by the community themselves become a recreational area. So that is, I find that it's very good because kita buat taman di belakang rumah near the river bank. And another problem of the river is not just plastic, but the bamboo that is, well, maybe during the olden days, our ancestors need bamboo for everything, from handicraft to making their house or making their pagar, their fences. But now we don't need it. It's overgrown and it's become, it slowed down the flow of water in the Moyog River. So that is one of the worst things that we have. And maybe itu juga yang contribute to the flood in Pinampang. So I don't know, maybe kebanyakan orang Pinampang juga, macam I can see Richard Simon is also just around the river. Your house is just nearby the river. Maybe you can think of something that, you know, the bamboo can be turned into something. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Just in addition to Sarkas, in addition to what Winnie was saying, there's a suggestion for you now. It's because you're doing the homestay facility there, as well as other homestays. What if you pitch? This could give you more clients, possibly more visitors. What if you say to them that when you come to us to stay at our homestay, we will give 10 ringgit or 50 ringgit, let's say, or 20 ringgit to a fund for the Moyog River project, something like that. It's just like a crowdfunding, but it's very much, one is to get people to realize how important it is to this kind of cleaning up river. Two, of course, it gives you more customers possibly for having something like that. So that's another way of looking at this thing in a small way. And you start small, but you never know, it could become big. Now, I just sent to you a link, not a link, but a guy called Mark Weens, which we've been watching on YouTube. Some of you may know him, but what he has done is he's visited northern Thailand, places like Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, and they have what's called a community-based tourism. It's very much local people going together and bringing the tourists in. And it's a wonderful idea. Of course, he's talking about food, but more importantly, it's two things. One is the community are the ones really pitching themselves to get people to see their village. Two, they're selling it in the sense of through the food that they prepare. It could be hinava, it could be food that is found, like lamiding and things like that, food that is found in the area. And it's a wonderful concept, I think. And I was so excited about watching that part of the program, because it means people go there. And now what is done is you can get even 3-4 star homestays in Chiang Mai, in Chiang Rai, because of this idea. How good is that? You purpose build it, obviously, but the idea is to bring people and see the countryside and see how people live in the olden days. And something like that, I want to do something for Sabah. And I think Winnie is already there because you have that wonderful building behind you who is making a good money. Not big money, but good money, isn't it? So it's a start. I think if we can do something like that in a small way, and you get the notice from other people, and through that, something could happen, something bigger. Sorry, Ken.
No, I actually watch his videos a lot.
Ah.
Mark Wins, I watch all his videos. I love it. It's so enjoyable, especially the pandemic. He went up north and also interesting food there. So excellent. I get what you mean. So yeah, I'm just going to answer the last question posted by Winnie again. It's the if it is a crowdfunding from international platform, any problem with compliance in Malaysia? There are two ways. One is whether you are allowed to raise fund in that platform, because not all countries are actually permitted, but even if we are not in the list, I've seen them still doing it one way or another. And the other way around is if you're doing equity crowdfunding, if you're giving equity or shares, then of course the normal compliance of ownership, foreign ownership in Malaysia need to be considered. So that's all this. But if it is just a reward based, you're saying crowdfund this homestay in Penampang, you can stay, if you crowdfund, if you send me $100, you can stay for a month in the house for the next 10 years or whatever it is, then I do not think that matters because that's not an equity. And I very much like that. I'm thinking of that in Papua myself, giving away, say, a chunk of 1 week for $100 or $200 funding. So that's exactly my fund. If you're thinking around that way, Winnie, we're going to talk. But otherwise, we are in 2 hours now. Hang on, yeah. So we've done 2 hours. Usually it's the end of the Borneo Forum. I think it's okay for us to wrap up and give to Alan now, Boyd.
Ken, there's one question there from Vianney.
Oh, all right.
Anyone knows how to treat bamboo to make houses?
Oh, wow. Well, I think there are a lot of Kampung people who know how to do that, to chop them and make things. But I think what she's thinking about is how. Oh no, that's Vinny, not the same person. Yeah.
Vinny.
Oh yeah. I think most people knows how to make use of bamboo one way or another. It's a question of.
I guess she's talking about treating. I've lived in my parents'
house.
I
see treating. Oh, I see treating it as in preservation. Okay, yeah. I got it.
Preserving it, yeah.
I think YouTube is the answer. There's a lot of things on YouTube, but that's interesting. I think I've seen how they treat bamboo in South America, huge there, and they go through a process where they treat the bamboo. Look for this video on I think it's Brazil. I think it is a huge industry. Or is it Venezuela, something like that? They have huge bamboo and they show you how to treat the bamboo. So go to YouTube, bamboo, it's out there. I've seen it myself, how to treat the bamboo with certain kind of treatment. It could have been some kind of, it may be involved with a chemical just to prevent it from being attacked by the worms. So yeah, but otherwise, I'm sure it's not that hard to find this kind of information now because such an established industry, huge industry, bamboo, is an established practice, I'm sure. So I will invite Alan to pitch. I'm sure I think we wouldn't want to extend this further. And Alan, welcome and tell us about our next program in April.
Thank you, Ken. So I'm gearing up for our next Borneo Forum. That's Borneo Forum 16. That will happen on the 30th of April, the last Saturday of the month of April, at 2:30 Malaysian time. 2:30 Malaysian time. So the topic that we are going to discuss in this upcoming forum is transforming the Borneo film industry. Yeah. So we understand that we still have like a fledgling film making industry in Borneo, especially in Sabah. Although we have like a number of telemovies, number of actors, pelakon-pelakon, but at the same time, we recognize that Borneo has a high potential for filming good movies, making good movies. So with that, we are lining up speakers, panelists from Sabah and Kalimantan. One will be from Kalimantan Barat. They'll be sharing their idea about the film industry in Indonesia and the involvement of the Bornean people in the Indonesian film industry. Second, there'll be a film director in Sabah. And then there's also somebody, a businessman who's trying to provide support services, kind of to set up a Netflix for Sabah. And another one is a couple who have been involved in animation movies, and they have received awards internationally, and they are Sabahans. So I'm going to bring them in the forum. Yeah, the idea is, how can we transform our mindset to develop the film industry in Borneo? What if we think about Bollywood, creating Bollywood, like Hollywood, Bollywood, Bollywood, you know? That's the idea. And Sabah is very much gearing up for development now. So I think it's important that we develop all sectors, including the film industry. I understand that there are few other areas in the film industry, like documentary, all kind of things, educational documentaries. It doesn't have to be an entertainment filmmaking, but we take step by step. So this is the first step, and I hope to get about 200 participants, especially from those involved in filmmaking in Borneo, termasuk yang pelakon-pelakon lah. So don't forget, on the 30th of April, that is Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Malaysian time. Transforming.
Do you have the banner? Do you have the banner for next month's event?
It's still in the making, actually. The one that you make.
Can we share that one?
Yeah, you can share. Although it's still not finalized, but you can share. You can share. Do you have?
I mean, share it here.
Yeah, please do.
So, hey, can you share? Can you somehow?
Can you
I haven't
mute?
downloaded it, actually.
Go ahead, Simon. I'll look for the banner, Richard. Is it posted? Simon, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Just quick, just to round off from what Winnie was saying, and then Boyd was saying. The other thing which is pretty exciting is that we've just heard news from the NUS, the Singapore National University of Singapore. They want us. We are starting a Sabah VR collaboration. So we'll be starting our own online channel, Blue Hope TV, and we start filming the first 2 VR films in probably June, July for National University of Singapore. Now, these are essentially supposed to be, their interest is doing online field courses, because they're worried that because of the COVID situation, they're not going to be able to send students to places like Sabah to do the online course, the field trips that they were doing pre-COVID. So I said, why don't we start doing VR courses? And so we can you can bring your students into Sabah from their classrooms in Singapore. For example, go for a dive on Sipadan the closest thing to a dive on Cipperland without getting wet. So I've teamed up with the best VR operators in Singapore, and we are doing the first 2 shoots. But what we're looking to do is to document all of Sabah's unique habitats and wildlife over the next year with little 5 to 10 minute VR films, which we'll be partnering up with different people, talking to Malaysia Tourism, obviously Sabah Tourism, and our partners like Sabah International Conference Centre. Essentially is a way to kickstart the engine, and before people book their trips, they can actually experience Sabah from the safety of their homes or on their iPhone. So with that in mind, the idea is that we can kind of almost rebrand Sabah as a conservation state, stopping plastic pollution, cleaning up the rivers, and protecting our biodiversity. So it's very exciting, and there are different online terms of funding. There are different mechanisms that you can get additional funding for content. So there's a site called Patreon, Patreon, which means if people like your videos or your stories, then people will start investing in the content. So this is one of the mechanisms we're going to get people to put funding back into Sabah. But we're also going to do a fam trip with the Royal Geographic Society in the UK and Dive ADEX, about 2 or 3 million viewers. We got our first webinar on Monday night between 7 and 8:30, where we're showcasing the first beach clean we did at Pulau Gaya last month. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a fam trip of a few hundred people from different parts of the world in July, August, coming back to Sabah. And these type of visitors, not only are they going to be world's best photographers and camera people, but they will put 10% of their spend into Sabah, the cleaning up of KK in Sabah. And that'll be going into different organizations like CLEAR and organizations that are and communities. So it's essentially going to kickstart an equalizer. And what we're trying to do is stop the smash and grab type of tourism that we had before COVID, where you had 2,000 people going out to Pulau Gaya and just trashing the place. And Sabah was generally being advertised as the best place to come and see wildlife in one paragraph, and the next paragraph is the best place to eat it live and see live seafood restaurant, which is total lunacy. And we've got to try and stop that, and we've got to try and protect every single piece of biodiversity that we have left. So just wanted to share that with you. These are some exciting projects coming up. But what I'll do is I will share the events that we have online on our platform on Monday night. We'll be broadcasting live from SICC to a few 100,000 people, and it'd be great if you could share that with your networks. I don't have it now to give to you, but I will. I'll share it with you, Ken, and maybe you can share it with everyone on email or on WhatsApp later today. I hopefully see some of you online on Monday evening. Thanks. Sorry about that. I wanted to just get those last points on, because very exciting developments for Sabah coming up. Thank you.
Oh, amazing. So much coming from you, Simon, and thank you very much for informing us. Now, I think we are coming to the 3rd hour now, and I think we'll wrap it up. And a last word from you, Boyd.
Yes, thank you everyone for staying with us. I'm very open. I've shared my email. Jadi, if you want to contact, please do, and we'll try and help each other on this one. Put you in the right direction. My core team here, of course, Simon, Richard, Ken, and Alan can also help, and we can redirect you or connect you with others. That's the whole point of the platform, to be able to connect you and then work together, especially if it's to do with Borneo. Yeah, thank you. And of course, Richard as well is here. Sorry, I have not invited you, Richard, but he's also organizing his next event in May, I think. So we'll let you probably a few words, Richard. Sorry, I didn't ask you to say.
That'll be in May. In May, right? You're doing something in May.
Yes. In May we'll have the Kamatan event. So we will highlight about preservation, our indigenous culture, and also a few things about the history and stories of Kamatan, and also what's more important is how to preserve, how to actually revive our dying language before it goes into extinction.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll see all of you again next month and in May.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I'm sure there are people watching on Facebook as well, and they continue to be watched. And thank you again, Kotahodan, terima kasih, and I'll see you all in our next session, 30th April, and have a good weekend. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye
Take care.
now.
Bye.